ndowooza nga tuzeesunga nnyo but lwaki twesunga independence then koza tumira ku kkubo nga tukyantinga oba Museveni ayiseewo president oye okitegeera but of course times have changed kakati independence leero Uganda ewezezza 63 years. Uganda just made 63 years, emyaka 63 ever since the British allowed us to be self-governing. Allow me welcome my colleague Jeff Ekungon. So happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day.
Anything good about independence?
Not really, except to remind us that the British colonized us and we are still trying to break free from the neo-colonialism.
The neo-colonialism, but shall we ever break free?
We shall. There's a lot of determined Ugandans, including yourself and myself, working tirelessly every day, cutting one string at a time.
Yeah. Man, it's not easy. Me, I was here telling guys watching us there. Perhaps anybody can share their thoughts or their memories, what they have about independence in the comment sections. Would love to hear your thoughts. Zengambe, when we were growing up, when we were young, that we used to know. There was Christmas Day, Easter Monday, New Year's Day, and then Independence. But I don't remember well what we used to want to celebrate about independence. All right, and now 63 years down the road, I don't know whether, yes, we should celebrate that we're now self-governing, but I think a lot is yet to be done. Now, switching to today's topic, I had long introduced to the viewers out there, tugenda kwogerako, does an artist in Uganda need a CMO? Oba nti artist yenna ali eyo aturaba olowooza yeetaaga UPRS? I'm going to concentrate mainly on the musical docket. Wadde nga mmanyi nti there is also UFMI for audiovisual,
yes,
and then Euro for literal works. Naye focus ena giteeka ku music wenjagala tuyite okusinga, because I knew you before nga tetunadda mu bino ebintu. I know you, and you, I still know you are still a big fan of music. Kuba tokyamukola ndowooza tukyagala kusikasuka rapu.
Nja kuddayo mu studio.
Kati awamu badde otukubyemu eza independence awo.
Nja kuddayo ku microphone.
Osooka basakatemuuko bategeere tugano.
Saagala kujjula bitayidde.
Freestyle. 1 2 1 2 Independence Day 1 2 1 2 twaliwo 1 2 1 2 kakati tukikuba 1 2 1 2 ebira tudda byogera.
My check 1 2 1 2. It's the Independence. And we're still rhyming.
Yeah. So I've just introduced a broad topic before we get into okugenda mu detail. I would want to know from your own perspective, or given the current state of affairs, nga industry weyimiridde, because I know you are a very good data analyst of the industry. Uganda, are we headed for the worst? Does an artist need a CMO oba tubiveeko tunoonye ebirala byakola?
That's a very good question, and I like the topic of the day. An artist, you're not serious about the music industry, is an investor. An artist is an investor into recording of music, an investor into shooting of videos, an investor into content creation, and overall, an artist is a landlord of property known as intellectual property. Any landlord who invests in their property and is not collecting rent or selling that property is a landlord who doesn't really know the business he's into. So every artist who is investing any penny in the business of music, including the recording, creation, promotion, I see them as landlords of intellectual property. And the CMO is the foundation of collecting the rent from intellectual property.
Anti Jeff Bagai bajja kugamba, man, we've had these stories for many years.
Yes.
Collecting the rent, but we don't see the rent coming. Cut in such a situation, realistically looking at things, where do we stand? Can we still continue to believe in the system that it will work?
So before we concern ourselves with the problems or the concerns that we have about the CMO, let's first understand the principle of why the CMO is important. The CMO is the infrastructure gye tuyitamu okuŋŋaanya akasente ke twasiga mu kuzimba music waffe ng'oggyeko zino eziri direct ng'eza concerts oba zino eziri direct nga wona negotiating ne aggregator mu telecom n'ofuna za CRBTs nga wona negotiating eza sync licensing nga bakutadde oluyimba lwo mu firimu zino endala zotasobola kuŋŋaanya. Let's first understand even why a CMO is important.
Because that's important.
Yes, because most of the time we are having problems as a country and even as a continent because we have not yet fully appreciated the role of the CMO. The role of the CMO is supposed to replace the reality that no human being can multiply themselves, which means that your song is being used in 1,000 locations, 1,000 different applications, and you're unable to be in all those places at the same time. And the essence of collective management or collective management yes. Simplifies the need for you to duplicate yourselves and try and get all this money by yourself. And also the fact that you cannot be in many countries at the same time, because the primary role of the CMO is to collect, license, distribute, and when it's doing that, it is multiplying itself where you can't. It's multiplying yourself in every location where you can't be within your country. It's also multiplying itself in all the other countries where it can't be through reciprocal agreements. Now, the issues that we have with why we are not collecting and why people would lose faith. Oba lwaki abantu bagwamu amaanyi nabeera nga bagamba nebi ne CMO nga setulaba kasente. It's partially kye bayita a chicken and egg situation. Nti ejjiri lyasooka oba enkoko. Tusooke tuliise enkoko oba tusooke
tulye
eggi. Kati nga oli agamba CMO erina okusooka okumpa then ndyoke ntandika ogitwala serious. Naye ate CMO naye yeetaaga gwe ogiwe seriousness it deserves so that n'abalala balina ogisasula nabo bagambe olaba abayimbi bagambye mulina otusasula then nabo ne bagamba naffe tulina okusasula naye kati oli alina okusasula alinze gwe omuyimbi olage nti oli serious ku rent wo oyagala asasulwe then naye alyoka atandika okusasula naye kati buli wobeera gweolinda CMO ekuŋŋaanye CMO erinda naawe okole ki obeere serious nti njagala rent wange which means bano abalina okusasula obateekeko pressure tufena tulinze CMO ekulinze gwe nga artist obeere serious and committed about your role and in the CMO. Kati ate naawe olinze CMO ekole bukozi. Kati oli license oli user oba licensee alina okusasula abatunulidde mwenna atunulidde CMO atunulidde gwe rights owner omukyali awo mwemoola naga okay I think ambalindeko besorting and that's where we've been.
Manyi, I love the point that you bring in about the seriousness. It is in Uganda, in my position where I am, I have evidence and I've seen it happen. Nti osanga a renowned name nga bwajeno ku festival ku press abagamba nga bwayagala copyright bwino okole nnyo to make sure things work. But on the other end nga guy yagamba ba user don't pay UPRS timujiwa sente you know kano gamba umayine ne banzukiza ka analogy kali aka waliwo katuni when we were growing up guy nga atudde ku branch bwati nenga ate atudde akutte atema axe kwenyine kwa atudde kate
nze nja kuddayo mu kyembadde ngamba nti kya analogy ya landlord nti gwe landlord nanyini kizimbe wafunye caretaker ya CMO akuŋŋaanye mu bapangisa naye buli waba agenda okuŋŋaanya ate awulira abapangisa bawulira eŋŋambo nti ki oyogereeyo nti oyo caretaker ali ku bibye oyo caretaker tansasula kati abapangisa badde bagenda kusasula ate bawulira ogamba nti takusasula bagamba kati lwaki tukusasula lwaki tusasula caretaker kubanga kireka zetumuwa tezituuka kati kyetulina abapangisa balina okuwulira nti ki gwe caretaker ne landlord muli wamu wemuti ate muli serious mwagala ssente then awo kyabapangisa bajja kuba bagumu basasule.
Yeah, Omanyi, that's why when you bring this topic, first for the artists to get to appreciate. Nti yena artist aliyo nga atulaba mubuli nti yetaaga ddala yetaaga UPRS kumangenda kukiswa sigenda kukiita na CMO kanyite nti UPRS Uganda kwa CMO eriwe.
Yes, let me even go a bit technical. Abamu abanasonyo ebimu nyinjo kuyita ko ne mu luzungu mo. CMO has multiple functions. There is the primary role of collecting within its primary territory. Jewandise kati ng'eggwanga lyo. CMO yaffe UPRS enokuŋŋaanya wano mu Uganda. Naye ate CMO ye mwe muli system ekurecognizinga globally mu ecosystem ya music mweyitira. Kati gwe buli wowe samba CMO oba UPRS ne ekkubo lyewaliitiddemu n'okuyingira global music ecosystem naye obeera oliggadde. Mba ntegeeza ki nti gwe ng'omuyimbi you can collect royalties not just locally but you can also collect internationally through streaming platforms globally. Let's say US or also collecting through a sound exchange or so collecting through the mechanical licensing collective also collecting around wanch naye all of that is held back if you do not get the foundation right. The foundation starts where? Until we're recording oluyimba, you must register with the CMO. When you register with the CMO, kitegeeza just kuwandika linnya lyo nti win na music. Kitegeeza n'okuwa music wo ebyapa. It's like nga we nagambye ekya landlord. The moment you acquire the title for your songs, katuziyitenga as identifiers, aba metadata, nti you submitted an audio file, ogifunyiridde ISRC, ogiregisteringira mu CMO. Ne bamanya nti kati gyeri. Ogifunidde ISWC, CMO ekoze ki etegedde nti for composition eno eri recognized by this identifier. Ate ekyokubiri composition eno identified to this composer by this IPI number. Kati our system omanyi okumaze okufuna ebyapa byo kwe basinziriye okusasula. Now when you go in and distribute your music globally through the aggregators or the platforms like CD Baby, TuneCore, Nabalala. Now the system knows you. It knows there's a song or an audio or video, and it knows that song is identified by this ISRC number, which is assigned by through this region. And then it also knows it's also identified by this, the composition is identified by this ISWC number, and it's also associated with this composer who has this IPI number. Now, when the money starts trickling in, it knows how to, the royalties, how to assign them to the appropriate owners. The problem is when you think, I don't need a CMO, all I need to do is go to the studio, record my songs, and then go online and distribute my music. Then you think that you've got it sorted.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Omanyi, like I found it a little challenging. Kuba artists kugamba ngagamba man zekati music wange bwe ntukolanga kayimba kange nanka wa CD Baby wanga wa Distro Kid. Why come why do I need a UPRS? Injaga zachi.
You need UPRS for multiple reasons. As I was talking about this, you need to understand the role of the distributor. The distributor primarily wants your music because they are going to take a cut from distributing your music. And they are obliged to give you your cut. But if you do not submit the necessary metadata that identifies you for purposes of you getting your cut, they do not lose their cut. They keep their cut and your cut stays also with them. You see, so they do not stop you from uploading them any music, and indeed your music will be out there. The difference is that you'll be leaving money on the table.
Streaming
For example, publishing. Publishing, go on as a
on the composition side.
From the composition side, ogenda muleka mabega kubanga toina ISWC. Ogenda muleka mabega kuba kati walibadde okunganya obusente from the different CMOs worldwide nga butegedde nti eno composition IPI number yeno so no gwe tusasula naye kati bo balaba oluyimba tebalaba ani gwe tusasula so sente bazikunganya tebalina buzibu era bazisigaza. So now we can that a lot of our artists are leaving money on the table. They are going ahead to distribute the music gets distributed, and they indeed see it, and they don't see the money.
Why I've asked that question is because I do see it with so many of our well-to-do artists.
Yes.
As in, Oliwa Babaro Zanta inaka hit such that aina streams katugiko Spotify kwa alibichi his mind tells him UPRS.
That mentality is the mentality of ignorant artists. It's the same mentality that we've always had, where people care about being stars, being famous through radio airplay, TV airplay, and being everywhere, visible on YouTube. But when they check their bank balance, there's nothing. So the radio stations will be happy to play your music if it's good music, but you're not going to get paid. The TV stations will play your music, but for them they will get paid. The commercials will come through on radio, the commercials will come through on TV. The distributors, they will get their cut once the streams start playing, but you won't get your cut.
So the artist, one good thing about the streaming platforms, whether your songs performs well or poorly, they still get it.
They still get their cut.
Even if it is one stream like this,
yes,
for them they take their cut.
They take their cut, and then your cut, which is unclaimed, goes into what they call unclaimed royalties or black box royalties. That eventually, all the royalties that are out there for all these unserious artists who don't care about the role of the CMO or UPRS, they'll just find out too late that they have not been getting the money. In fact, it's the most painful thing to do. It's like someone who gives you slow poison. You don't know that you're dying, but you're dying of poverty. And you're dying of poverty because the money is disappearing out there, and you don't know. In fact, if any artists were serious and they did an audit of their works, they could even be able to estimate how much money they've lost because of that kind of unseriousness. So they need to take CMO seriously, even before they collect the local collections. They need to go and utilize the infrastructure. The CMO is like an infrastructure that you need to transport to transport your intellectual property into places you can't reach.
Ekitegeeza now, ekitegeeza nti an artist, a smart artist, ekitegeeza nti bwa becoming a part of a CMO. Not becoming just a passive member.
Yes.
But nafayo okugamba nti recordings olimba lwange luluno. Njagala ISWCR.
Yes.
Njagala ISRCR.
Yes.
Then IPI number yange as the first step.
Actually, kamusale ekirimu nti one of the other mistakes that people do, sijja kunenya UPRS, sometimes artist again neewandisa stage esooka eraga nti ayingidde as a member, naye n'atakola ebiddako.
Yes.
Nowekanga he's a member of UPRS but has not submitted his works. But he says, I'm a member. But royalties are paid against the works. So works. You've not submitted works, not but you're a member.
Membership.
No. Two, you've submitted your works, but you've not created your ISRCs, you've not created your ISWCs, you've not created your IPI, but you're busy telling people, I'm a member, where is my money? Where is my money? How are they going to know who to pay?
Yeah.
You get it? Once the systems become fully functional, or even where they are fully functioning, beyond just the circle of UPRS local and in the global ecosystem, they can't pay you because they can't identify you.
And I believe these global players, they take you more serious. We work with Sanganti over the organized to that detail. Okay,
Yes.
this is my song, but this is Yo-Yo, this is my IPI.
And let me tell you, that is the saddest thing going on right now. A lot of highly respected Ugandan artists, I have audited personally hundreds of artists to see who are taking their business seriously. For example, recently, Bebe Cool released his, now
Breaking
album,
the Chains.
Breaking the Chains album. I was very excited that for the first time, he's taking this whole distribution business seriously, and it's going to help enlighten more artists. And indeed, he did take care of the sound recording side of things, but he did not take care of the publishing. Up to now,
The musical work side,
I
he
couldn't.
neglected it.
He neglected it. The publishing side of what? The musical side of
And
things.
I'm not sure whether
I couldn't find his
brother Bebe knows his IPI.
I don't think so. I know his IPI.
You know it.
I know it, but I don't think he knows it. Because if he knew it, he would have what? Associated it with this entire new album. And maybe they did that later. But the last time I checked, at least I was monitoring it for the first 2 months, and he was not collecting. And they had not what? Set it up. So that was money that was lost. All the streams that he got.
What that means now to an artist like Bebe Cool, Bwabanga abaddeko ne ba artists abalala ba collaborating on the song Saba Wandise. He's doing them a disservice.
No, actually, to the strange thing that all the Nigerian artists that were that collaborated on that, all their metadata was in order.
Zina ISWC,
Zina ISWC, Zina IPI, I checked the Nigerian producers, all of them, they're in order. They are, even Joshua Baraka on that album, his royalties are flowing very well because he has his IPI, he has the ISWCs, everything is in order for him. All the other contributors, the foreign ones, all their affairs are in order, and for them they are collecting.
So guys, if you're watching us out there and you're creative, ekisooka before nga tetunakwebanja sente endala, let's first of all demand the bare minimum from a CMO. Nti jangu ofuke member works zo was updating up to date or making sure nti olimba lwange lwe luno. ISWC yalwo yeruwa.
We auditing emuko.
Oba tobima jangu ku UPRS obateke kuninga obagambe nti njagala ISWC.
Banoonya ababitegeera.
Obanoonya ababitegeera bajja kugamba nti eyo okulaba okugifuna oyina kugifuna bwoti ne bwoti ne bwoti.
Work with companies. Already we have several mushrooming companies that are beginning to take care of the serious business of music. And I'm very happy to support them because they are supporting our ecosystem. Companies like Omziki, they are doing distribution and they're also handling publishing. Companies like Ugatunes, they are also doing that.
Is this one abali ku Josplay bebani?
Opus. Yes, Opus is also doing that. So those who understand this game, let the artists go and sign up with them. I mean, I don't mind people who are signing up with the international companies.
Up with them as publishers.
Yes. So, but I'll be happy if we sign up with what? Local companies. Why? Because there's a guy you can talk to. There's a guy you can call. I have this issue. Instead of what you call, where you're going to send an email and then you wait. Instead of an international company where you're going to be in a queue. There's a guy here who's going to sort out your issue.
Uganda. I'm encouraging these artists, Banai. Let's make use of this CMO. It is ours. The law says it is ours collectively. Because many artists here are indie artists. Abasinga, they are independent artists. But as an independent artist, now you can put your house in order. There was some sad story that I heard. I was following online. Some artists are complaining, I think in the US, the warone beef between these international distributors.
Yes.
CD Baby, wherever Nyimendara was one day over DistroKid, in Engage sabotaging this one is a Wajiwa. you know.
Because this is, let me help actually explain that. That whole problem stems from the fact that nti ba artists babeera bawandisa ennyimba zaabwe tebabiteekamu effort okumanya nti buli oluyimba lutwale nga kyapa buli kyapa nina okumanya wekiri poloti eriwa eno gye nina so nti you when you record a song and you start to register it claim your ISWCs and know them and every country has a code for that the ISRCs for that country. However, also the aggregators have their own independent codes. But I would recommend that Ugandan artists use the Ugandan code, which starts with UG for ISRCs. Do not use the distributor assigned.
Bakuwa signing azamu America.
Bakuwa signing azamu America is your distributor. This is why you shouldn't use those ISRCs. When you get frustrated with that distributor and you want to migrate, you have to now to deal with the drama of what? Of
putting in a claim,
migrating the music with the ISRCs to a new. Now those ISRCs are generated, they are owned by that distributor. But when you generate ISRCs that are for Uganda and they are owned by you, they are not owned by the distributor. Feel free to use any distributor. If you use CD Baby, use TuneCore, use whatever you pick. But go with your own ISRCs. And how do you get your own ISRCs? Every country that is assigned an ISRC country code, and that country code is assigned by the IFPI, the International Federation of Phonographic Industries. They have their website, ifpi.org. You can, if you're, for example, a record label or a studio, go to IFPI. Their office is in Nairobi, but they have very active people online.
Actually, the government, IFPI are very big time partners of UPI.
Thank you. I'm also going to emphasize a different point in that direction. And maybe let me just mention it very quickly. That whereas many artists do a lot of research about CMOs, most of the CMOs that they read about are not structured like UPRS. For example, they will look at American CMOs and they don't understand the American music industry ecosystem, which is very different. For example, in the US, they do not collect for neighboring rights, except for online radios. Unlike us here, we collect royalties for terrestrial radios. This is noise broadcasting anomaly. Kati go ogena not studying American system. Ebintu obifuna momufulo obitegera
kifula nenge
oba obitegera a bit upside down. Naye tegera nti UPRS represents multiple bundles of rights, whereas most of the CMOs online, they only represent one bundle of rights. For example, if you look at PRS UK, they are only
performing rights.
UPRS represents works,
performing rights.
All of them by basically by law, because it's the only CMO right now. It represents all the bundles of rights. So when you are following up this thing, you need to understand it from that perspective. Now, when you come back to the issue of ISRCs, IFPI is the global organization that is in charge of assigning ISRCs. Yes, for phonographics. And they are the ones that are in charge of assigning ISRCs. They are the ones who also assign the distributors, who give them that power to generate ISRCs.
Or CD Baby, not CD Baby, linking up with IFPI. Which IFPI
exactly.
is partnering with the UPRS.
With UPRS.
As an artist, you have UPRS.
CD Baby already empower ISRC codes. Nenga tochima inters bakuwa zayo katuwotuka ko migrating. Some, not all distributors are friendly during the migration process. Some will support you, but even when they support you, it's not a standard way
process because they don't want you to migrate.
There's always the risk, for example, if they are not friendly, you will lose all your playlists, you will lose your streams, because now you're going to reset yourself up afresh. If you're lucky and it's done right, you will not lose them. But the safest way to do it is have control of your identifiers. Make sure that you get a UG ISRC through IFPI. If you have a record label, just work with your label. They will assign you one. For example, Swang's Avenue already has a code. So all the artists that work through them, they are assigned what? Nice ISRC that sets the country code for Uganda.
UG.
Their own record label code, and then the
particular
work
sound
code,
recording.
the specific work code. Kati, when you work with IFPI, if you don't have a record label, you can still identify yourself as your own independent record label, and they can assign you. Then all the works that will come through you will be. You have total control over them. That way, when you go to distribute through CD Baby, TuneCore, and all these other, even local ones, you are very safe. You can migrate. You own it. You just go and say, you're moving. Go to your other. You type in your ISRCs, and they are in your names.
And that way, you won't leave any money on the table.
You won't leave any money, and you will not even lose your playlists. You will not lose any stream counts, all these things, because the moment you migrate from one distributor to another, and you don't manage that process delicately, there's a very high risk of losing your reputation that is already you've built over time. You've built your stream count, you've built your playlist. Because they are associated with the other codes.
This discussion is a very important one because many artists in Uganda about 2020 and below abasinga we are suffering from that. Yovulaba osanga multiple songs kugamba your songs uploaded by multiple people and you can't even claim.
You have no control.
You have no control.
And not only artists, including songwriters, including producers. I've been hearing producers also crying. They forget that UPRS also represents the producers. It is a CMO that also represents that band of rights for producers, represents that band of rights for performers, represents the songwriters.
Ngenda ku challenging director Bangit Barinix.
Yes.
Those songs that you keep claiming, do you have ISRCs for them?
Thank you. Actually,
because in our side here, sound recording.
Yes, in our law, a very big part of what the producers are actually claiming is not even on the sound recording side. It's on the composition side. When they claim, because when most of them, when they had these transactions, they did not sort of write away their right to their rights as composers. So they still hold those rights because they are. I mean, an artist came and paid you,
but there was no contract.
There was no contract that said that this is a work for hire. That which relinquished your rights. So people like Washington, they can. If they go and put their affairs in order with the CMO, which means all the works they've worked on, they submit them.
So Director Washington.
Why
you with the documentation department?
Yes.
And take it serious.
IPI code.
I have 30 hours of sound.
No, that doesn't count. I need to say, I want to hear that I have 50 ISWCs, and all of them are associated with my one IPI code. And those ISWCs are for this work. And then once you have those ISWCs, and those works are in the global ecosystem, sounds more Americans because you go and write to the MLC, the Mechanical Licensing Collective, and tell them this work here. I am a claimant.
Yes, I'm the true beneficiary.
I would like to dispute ownership of this work, and this is my ISWC, which was assigned by my CMO. Now, including including past revenue that this person took without including me in the split sheet. The moment the MLC receives that claim, they are going to inform the other person who originally submitted that work, and it is their duty to dispute that claim. If they have no further proof, then automatically you will be added as a stakeholder on that. Now, future royalties will be held back to compensate you for all the ones you lost.
So that is good info for the artists out there. That's why I love this show, this podcast. It's very informative. Kitegeeza nti artists, let's tusooke tukole ku bye tulina okukolako as basics.
Yes.
That's why I said, but for artists 2020 downwards, then the issue is ezo.
Yes.
Let's first of all claim through.
Let's clean up our house.
Clean up our house. Get to understand who owns what. And then there, tujja kutandika kubanga olaba ne right now we are being cheated by Capasso. Capasso, the South African CMO that collects for on behalf of African CMOs,
yes.
mechanical rights.
Yes.
Omayimbi tebamanyi nti wadde independent artist waliwo sente ezaleka ku table wali ezaki eza publishing side.
Yes.
Okitegeera ye temanyi nti
ate ng'asobola ziclaiming only ng'ayina ono metadata ono gwa submittinga mu file ye ya Capasso.
But even ne UPRS tesobola kuziclaimingayo because teyina metadata
wo.
Okitegeera.
So ziri eyo Capasso eri mu kukola ki kuvuluba eri mu kulya amasavu merere tuligirekera sente ate nga nange sola gine I've raised that issue many times naye nga sina na wentandikira kunenya Capasso until we have done our homework on our end. Then we can we can say, okay, now where is my money? Yes. And we can duly claim that money, but we cannot claim it when we don't have even a biapa. So as artists, put in the time, look for the people who know how to sort these issues. Start with the CMO, UPRS, and go and get your identifiers, your IPI, your ISWCs.
In fact, bagigamba UPRS twagala ISRCs.
Yes, yeah. Because UPRS are related to IPI.
To IFPI, we're going to the artists need to get ISRCs, and that will be done.
Yes, and we need to use our Ugandan ISRC code, the one that starts with UG, more for all our works.
But why is the songs seemingly doing better? It's because they have artists try to put their house in order.
When it comes to that stuff.
Yes.
There are people who are very knowledgeable on that.
Of course, the only bone to crack with songs is that Sinabaraba that active.
Mukusomesa
nemu kubeera so involved mu bintu bya UPRS.
Yes.
Because much as collecting as the digital space.
I think through a bit of that old frustration, many of them were registered with foreign CMOs. And that's something that they feel that solves their problem, but doesn't solve their problem in the long run. In the end, it makes more sense to be registered with your local CMO.
It does not? Because PRS of UK over what is the one for Ireland? I hear that IMRO.
Yes.
Will not collect public performance royalties from Kampala.
No.
It will only
I don't know, does
UPRS.
Does UPRS have a reciprocal agreement with IMRO?
Yes, it does.
Is it active?
Yes, it does. It is.
Okay.
Yes. Naye nga kugamba chinganti, kugamba, it gets tricky for them. Yet I think there's a lot of money that we need to collect here. Government, as an industry, we need to put our voice together. So ketujemu nti ate Jeff yaliwo Jeff sikolagana naye and look at the common good.
Naturally, ndoza tujja kufunako omusomo ku bundles of rights. As a CMO, so that abantu bazitegeera, because abantu abamu baclaiming akebimu bagenda online basoma balaba zi PRS zisinga okubeera visible. Naye tebalaba zino endala. Kasi ne batamanya how to collect for these other bundles of rights. Even the producers up to today are still claiming, they're saying, oh, the artists cheated us. Oh, we need them to come and give us our rights. No, they don't. You don't need them. You go and submit your your works with the CMO
and submit in your claim.
Fill in the split sheets as you know fit, and then once you know, once you've done that, it will be up to the other person to come and prove otherwise. And if they cannot prove otherwise, your claim becomes substantial, and you start to collect your royalties without ever having any meeting with any artist. And the moment they fail to prove otherwise, the split sheet is updated. So Capasso will update the split sheet and to reflect that now you are a stakeholder in those works. MLC will update a split sheet. All the other CMOs will update the split sheet. The moment you you fill it in. But the producers have not filled in their split sheets.
Now also as a takeaway, it is very important by adapting the culture yoku kola. Agreement says when we are going to do a song. Techiri Mustana, I've often told artists, when I move eri analog world, eri archaic world to you. Moving forward, togenda kuteeka any claim ku luyimba lwa muntu nga tulina written document eraga katugambe nti wagende wa Nesimu na producing oluyimba kati Nesimu agamba nti oluyimba lwe composition ye bw'ogamba si ye
oba mugisharinga omuntu okuba nga kituufu buli omu yaleeta yakolako naye mutuule bwe mutatuula
gwe tojja
oli ajja claiminga claim ejja kuyitamu
tojja kunyumya bya namuwa ssente it was work for hire
etteeka ligamba that bino bya namuwa ssente bikola nga wasaininga n'endagaano egamba nti okivuddemu naye bw'oba just wasasula ssente n'akuwa receipt eyo si endagaano eya music industry eyo receipt eraga nti omusasulidde amasanyalaze ne rent n'emmere y'abaana
intellectual property. So the artists, I want you to take this serious. Mukitegere, that is a very big takeaway. It's high time we adopt the culture of having written documentation when we are going to produce these works. Ekyokulala nti ba artist, it is not enough for you to think nti nze kasa oluyimba lwange wa CD Baby actually waliwo yajja onandaga tulaba kati ono nayo po $6
naye mubuuze $6 ezo zaaki kyobola mugambe twetagayo discussion ku bundles of rights but aniko okutegeera nti zino $6 ze zibadde mu bando ki tutandika okumanya because intellectual property alinga landlord wa commercial building akuŋŋaanya eno mu store akuŋŋaanya mu toyi akuŋŋaanya eno mu dduuka akuŋŋaanya kati owulira nti batenanti basasudde
n'abatunda ku lubalaza abakuŋŋaanya
kati wowulira nti batenanti basasudde gwe n'obeera happy omanya gwe toli serious landlord abuuza tenanti ali wa room ki ate bani abalala batanasasula abatoyi basasudde abagundi ab'omustore basasudde so as an artist that's what you need to do nti wotunula your statement nga totegedde ssente ki ng'olaba bulabi ssente you cannot break it down n'otabanja zino nga tebannazisasula zino nga wano tebannazisasula ng'omanya okyabulamu beera real commercial landlord abuuza akanana akataano.
I like that. Actually I think next Thursday tubeera wano every Thursday 3 p.m. Next Thursday let's handle the bundles of rights.
Yes.
Actually we can go beyond a CMO.
Yes.
Because for the benefit of the artists.
Ziri handled by the CMO, neziri direct handled by the artists.
By the artists. Amanye nti bwa distributor oba CD Baby oba wadde omuziki owawan.
Yes.
Ayina kumusuubira mu kina.
Twogere kwati ne kuzino nga kati za CRBTs n'engeri gye tusobola ozihandlinga.
CRBTs. Kubanga waliwo I had a discussion n'aba CRBT recently nabo bagamba nti affe twasayininga ne ba artist mbabuuza ba artist
maybe wasayininga obimanyi wasayininga abalala abali ku luyimba olwo nabo basayininga oba bakyabanja
era nabuuza bali aba CRBT ne mbabuuza ba artist baba granting rights ki
which one kyekiri kyeŋŋambye nti olina okubeera commercial landlord nti bweba basasulira ki kyennyini basasulira dduuka basasulira store oba basasulira toyi waba bagamba afe twasasula awo manya yakukuba alina ze yasasula n'ende zaatasasula so kiri important omanye nti wansasula kati eza performance wansasula wano eza kino eza kiri zino ze manja
mechanical eza publishing
sizirabako era buli songwriter ng'oli eyo ng'oluyimba lw'okyayinako rights balukozesa mu CRBT naye nga gwe tewafuna ng'ate okyalulinako claim ntuukirira nowoba oli artist nga wakola ki nga bakozesa oluyimba lwo mu CRBT nga tewabitegeera oba owulira bakubba oba wadde bakusasula naye ng'okyemulugunya ntuukirira ezo sente tujja zijjayo.
That is the beauty of our podcast. Tugamba it has to be informative. Of course twogera ku issues ezikwata ku industry yaffe. Our industry n'ebizibu bingi, egrapplinga n'ebizibu bingi nga bw'olaba nti ebizibu me have come to understand why I opted for this topic today. Kubanga ndabye nti ekizibu ekisingira ddala ekinene katugambe mu music ecosystem, it is internal.
Kiri internal. It's a local problem.
Nti UPRS lwaki te performing, it is internal nga tetunaba kwekwa.
Nga government is we have not done our part. Land enforcement is part of the problem. Tubenga pie chart. Enforcement jeri nganga 30%. Naye the other 70% is still on us. We haven't solved our part. Yes, that's why I agree.
Artists, we need to put our house in order. Actually, it is us obuvunanyizibwa obusinga buli kuffe. Sometimes when you have people trying to put things together, abasooka okubavaayo okubakwa even when they don't know what bakayanira. They are usually artists. But what exactly are you saying? Gajja kugamba kimwa oyo Jeff atubba.
Ngombuza akubba atya atamanyi na kumanya.
So we need first of all understand nti wabanga katugambe nti chairman yoyo ababba ku UPRS. We need to understand atubba atya.
Kyekyo kyembadde ngamba nti olaba kati nga mu CRBTs waliwo kye bayita infringement, oli akwesiza oluyimba nga tomuwadde lukusa. Naye ono gwewadde olukusa naye n'akwesa obukujjukujju n'atakuwa ssente z'osaanidde. Waliwo era etteeka
kubanga etteeka jjukira equitable remuneration.
Kati waliwo ekya unjust enrichment. Akutte ku ssente zo mu ngeri gy'otategedde nga tetoyina ki nga tobitegeera. Kati awo era nawo amateeka gamukwata. Era kati abagategeerako akatonotono tukola ki? Tusobola okutafuta n'ezo ssente ne zikomawo.
So guys, we are here every Thursday. Today tubadde twogera ku the importance of a CMO. But before we close, Jeff, twogedde just ku byapa bya metadata biki. But beyond the metadata, some highlights other few importances that could justify an artist being a part of a CMO.
Well, we need to appreciate what a fully functional CMO looks like so that we can fully appreciate why an artist needs to be a part of it. The ultimate goal of a CMO is to ensure that no money is left behind for all the bundles of rights that they represent. So, and in all the markets where they have what capacity to collect. So in that case, opportunity eyo defining echo nene nnyo tetuyinza nagimalayo wano bweno gundi naye tetunaba dog scratching that surface.
Kale nga tetunachinga surface eyo njagala tu always n'abatulabe ekwaliwo bensana baga nange nsobola okubeera member wa UPRS. Who are the creatives that are mandated or can be beneficiaries of a CMO?
So the beneficiaries of a CMO are often confused okubeera ba artists, which is very wrong. The correct term is rights holder. Rights holder yani yo ainako obwannannyini ku intellectual property oba copyright neighboring rights. Oyo okubeera obwannannyini teyeetaaga kuba nti muyimbi nti yayimba ku muzindaalo. No. Alina okuba nga yalina kye yacontributinga. For example, asobola okubeera nga producer atya eteeka manyi tumanyi ba mirundi ebiri. Waliwo ono gwe tumanyi akuba ki oba beatmaker mu lulimi olulala akuba eŋŋoma nobayo ne producer gwe bamanyi mu mateeka yoyo yakuta amaja oba accent na sponsoring oluyimba olwo lukolebwe. Oyo yasponsoring oluyimba olukolebwe asobola okuba nga era ye muyimbi naye mu teeka basooka kulaba mu ngeri ndala nti you commission the work. So because you commission the work, you own the work. Gwe wakwata sente nogamba njagala tukole ono oluyimba.
Actually ekize mu local terms abantu bakitegere nti katugambe nti Jeff Chiwa si muyimbi
naye producer ate nga tetumulaba ku ngoma, tetumulaba ku keyboard oba ku computer, naye producer and one of the top producers in this country. And as such, he should be one of the top earners at UPRS.
Naye simanyi oba Jeff Chiwa member.
Simanyi. Then osobola okubeera member as a performer, osobola okubeera member as a producer, osobola okubeera member as a performer yoyo gwe tulaba ku microphone era gwe tumanyi ng'omuyimbi
gwe bayita nti
artist gwe tulaba ng'omuyimbi naye mu lulimi olwa business olwa copyright ye performer akwata omuzindaalo n'ayimba ku stage oba ayimba mu studio then nekubeerawo n'oli awandika oluyimba mu bawandika oluyimba mulimu ba mirundi ebiri mulimu composer mulimu ne lyricist sometimes y'omwoyo sometimes banjawulo so oyinza okuba nga abantu babiri batudde wamu n'abeera awo n'ayiya akantu
ayiye
ebigambo waliwo oluusi n'ayiya ka melody
composer ye n'agamba kati ebigambo bino bwebiteeka ne bivaamu melody bweti
oluusi melody eyo ayinza ogiyiya nga takubye oba ayinza ogiyiya n'agikubira ku nnanga n'akola nga kyebayita wazi chord progressions oba ebintu ebyenjawulo ebireeta melody ekwatagane so abo bonna babeera ba rights holders and they retain their rights through contracts by claim or ezo rights ne bazita era mu contract nga bagambye nti nze nkivuddemu
oyina beweerabiddeyo
then actually rights holders bagwa mu biti bibiri kubanga copyright etteeka lyaffe baliyita copyright and neighboring rights act nga litegeeza nti litulaba mu nkola bbiri mu saidi ya copyright ne saidi ya neighboring rights so mu saidi ya copyright we wali bana ba owninga oluyimba
wali lyricist composer
ne publisher so publisher yoyo ayambako oluyimba olwo ba composings oba lyrics okutundibwa oba okulutambuza mu katale sometimes ye nanyini luyimba sometimes abeera muntu mulala so nga wano mu katale kaffe abasinga babyekolera naye nga often also asobola okubeera muntu mulala for example myself I am a publisher era I'm registered in UPRS as a publisher ate nga siri performer siri tumundaba ku kazindaalo nga nnyimba ate nga siri producer but I have produced many songs
mu Lunayuganda bo bakitegeera nti ye promoter
so ndi publisher so osobola okubeera member as a publisher era oba olabanga ebya publishing music oba okulaba nti music wo ku side ya composition lyrics bikitobitegeera tobitegeera gye bivaamu sente ng'onoonya publisher nga ki mukwatagana naye oba ng'onoonya
publisherizaganya ka percentage nti binkolere percentage onootwalako oba si kyekyo kwata sente
oba mu nkola endala publisher era yoyo ku side eri ya sound recording yasasudde mu studio obulimba lukolebwe nga amanyibwa nga producer ku side eri yasasudde obulimba luwandikibwe era ye naye ye publisher kubanga nyinza okubeera nengamba ono gundi ono guy ono songwriter wa kabi omuwala gwe nafunye alina eddoboozi eryakabi we mutemera mpandikira akayimba akalungi nefuna ono n'akayimba oyo agenda kuba ki oluyimba lujja kuba lwakabi lujja kutunda kati wensasula songwriter mba nfuuse publisher awo mba siri producer naye mba nfuuse publisher because I gained that title so that way I own a share on the basis of having commissioned the composition nawo mbeera ki publisher or I can be a publisher nga oli yampadde obuyinza nkole emirimu egy'okusindika oluyimba olwo so those are the two ways so abo bonna babeera ba member ba UPRS then neno okusaidia neighboring rights nti aba owning oluyimba for example omuntu yasasulidde era oluyimba nga twagambye oba omuyimbi oba muntu mulala nga Jeff Chiwa wadde bangi nnyo batabula Jeff Chiwa nanga abamu balowooza kubanga nange nze Jeff so ebiseera bingi bamu balowooza nze Jeff Chiwa oba gy'oli eyo one time we should talk abantu bonjagala mbalagirire simanyi gye bakusanga olusi balowooza nze ggwe so oyo naye abeera stakeholder ng'asobola okubeera member wa UPRS era asobola nga bwe ngambye asobola okuba muyimbi oba asobola okubeera businessman nga talina nakyamanyi mu kukuba ngoma ate ayina ne identity endala asobola okubeera nga record label nga si muntu naye nga kitongole nga business ng'onaalaba Swangs Avenue nti company eyo company nebeera nga nayo erina ki stake ku luyimba kati weba ne stake ku luyimba naye esobola okujoininga UPRS because UPRS representing all those bundles of rights
kasita obeera nga oyina right ku
work ng'oli rights holder kikuba bye natandikidde tuve mu kigambo mbu UPRS yaba artist UPRS yaba rights holders yes
waliyo normally ababeera neglected perhaps tubogereko this show ba session artists or backup artists abantu bamanyi nti even those are welcome in UPRS nti nabo babeera ne kashare kuba normally ku related rights or performing rights bayinayo ka 5% nga ka reserved
for session artists
yes naye abantu bakimanyi nti
kituufu kubanga kati olaba nga Michael Ouma is a very popular session artist because bantu bangi babeera bakuba oluyimba ne bagamba manyi Michael Ouma jangu oteekemu kagita kano jjukira wajja nawulira bye mukoze ayiya akake akatuula
waliwo n'abawala betusanga mu studio oba producer inagamba Angela bwana backing oluyimba olwo but normally those people they are short-changed there.
So biseera bisinga abantu bagamba oh yabadde work for hire yaze namutemedde najja n'asuula mu vocals namutta naye the principles apply the same way kuba producer nti session artist akola vocals oba akubye gita wajja n'omutemera n'agenda naye nga temusigninze agreement ya work for hire aba akyayinako claim era royalties ayina ozifuna era wobeera ng'oli eyo ng'oli session artist wali okoze vocals nyingi nnyo naye nga tolina bw'obiclaiming nga tobitegeera jangu nze ndi publisher nja kurepresentinga sente zo tuziclaiming enkadde n'empya
Jeff here is a publisher abayise mwena ba session artists
songwriters
artists kyentegeeza mwe banyinaffe mwe baganda baffe betusanga mu studios nga ogwame gwakola backup okiwulira
mwe ba guitarists
wano manyi simanyi Ouma waliwo onugayo mukongo yani Shamant then
banji
okitegeera
ne Aziza Zion wadde muyimbi ate emirundi mingi bamuyita n'akola ki n'ateekamu because he's also a brilliant guitarist
amagulu n'agamanage ye mukubi wa fiddle
najja n'ateekamu
one of my songs nzija muli guy yakubiramu endingidi naye I'm sure atakimanyi nti ayina a claim on that song
so oba oli eyo nze ntuukirira obanga nga yoyo yakubuzaabuzamu bwe ntuukirira nja mutereeza otegera
that's what's up
yes
guys Jeff parting shots before we sign out
so it's been a good discussion okwogera ku kya why a CMO is important. But beyond why, sente zosobola okukunganya in terms of royalties in the short term, tukitwale nti CMO yeringa nga retirement plan y'omuyimbi. Ojja kubeerawo obiyisemu amaaso kati nze nja kuba kavulu kange wano naye ogenda kutuuka time nga tokyasobola kuba kavulu. Naye ng'ebyapa byo gyebiri
nga
tebakyakuyita
ate music
wo gyali so eno ye retirement plan gyolina okwesiba ku bali abalala abali mu corporate companies beesibye ku NSSF era ki bo balistede gwolistede olinayo NSSF gw'osuubira oba tomuyina CMO ye retirement plan yo royalties zo zijja kusigala nga zijja nga teziriiko abuuza ng'oli clear cut ng'oba wakola homework wo oba tewamukola ogenda kusigala awo ng'olinga atayimbangako olinga atakolangako kati ate ng'otusumbwa tutandika okukola ki zikawoshi tutandika okukuŋŋanya z'eddwaliro za ki so tandika okusortinga bino ebintu ng'okyalina amaanyi ng'okyali fresh ng'era osobola obitegeera kati nga naffe tulina time okukuwuliriza.
All right. Thank you guys. Mwena abadde batulaba on TikTok live on YouTube live. Of course, next Thursday we're gonna plan to take even other platforms. Yeah, we will spread out because the show is really informative. So we don't have artists banji nyo eno information bagyetaaga. I'm sure bobanga oyina kyoyagala okubuuza. We are going to post some of these clips on TikTok even after this TikTok live. Or you can come on YouTube and watch the show. Then let's talk. Tubuuze kyonna kyagala okumanya, but next Thursday we are talking the different bundles of rights. Bundles chizo ino claiming UPRS, bundles chizo ino claiming a publisher, bundles chizo ino claiming streaming platforms nazisaba ki.
Ne check yo ya UPRS. Tugisaba naye kyukemu erage nti wano zino ze tusasudde eza bando eno zino endala ze tusasudde eza bando eno ne zino ezeeno twagala kulaba check emu mbu ate abapangisa basasudde ezaki eza room eza office oba eza store.
Yeah,
Thank you.